I was on my way back from deployment, my heart pounding with anticipation for what I hoped would be my first meaningful Christmas with family in years, when Dad's text sliced through the illusion like a knife. Christmas is better without you. Don't come. The words hung in the air of my cramped barracks room, mocking the fragile hope I'd built. I stared at the screen for what felt like an eternity, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. Finally, I typed back a single word. Understood. It was curt, military precise, but inside, something shattered. Then, in the heavy silence that followed, I made a few discreet adjustments to the paperwork, the financial lifelines that had propped up their world for so long. 48 hours later, my phone lit up like a battlefield alert. 7 missed calls, one of them from their lawyer. The storm I'd unleashed was just beginning. My name's Lisa. I'm 28, a staff sergeant in the U.S. Army, and until that pivotal moment, I'd been the dutiful daughter who funneled half her paycheck back home every month, convinced it was the unbreakable bond of family. Stationed in Germany for the past year, I hadn't laid eyes on my hometown in nearly 4. It wasn't for lack of wanting. It was the exhaustion of crossing oceans, only to arrive as an afterthought, a shadow lingering in the corners of rooms filled with laughter that never quite included me. Yet this year, I allowed myself to hope. It's ironic, isn't it? Someone trained in tactical risk assessment, spotting ambushes from miles away, yet blind to the emotional minefield of her own blood. But soldiers are human first. Flawed, resilient, and stubbornly optimistic, even when experience screams otherwise. When word came down that my Christmas leave was approved, a genuine thrill coursed through me, rare and electric, like sunlight piercing the gloom of an endless patrol. I hadn't celebrated the holidays at home since enlisting, those early years blurring into a haze of duty and distance. In my mind's eye, I painted the scene vividly, Mom's eyes welling up with tears as she set an extra place at the table, Dad handing me a beer with a gruff nod that hid real affection, my sister Haley finally inquiring about my deployments instead of launching into her latest saga of car troubles or boyfriend woes. I booked the flight non-refundable, a leap of faith in miracles I didn't fully believe in. I texted Mom right away. Got leave approved, I'll be home for Christmas. Can't wait to see everyone. Her response? A simple heart reaction. No words, just that small red icon staring back at me. I fought the urge to dissect it, telling myself it was enough, that warmth awaited beyond the digital chill. For a few precious days, I let the fantasy rest en route, coming home to open arms, valued not for the checks I'd cashed, but for the person I'd become. Then, 12 days before Christmas, as I stood in the base kitchen, gnawing on a stale protein bar that tasted like cardboard regret, my phone buzzed with Dad's message. Christmas is better without you. Don't come. I froze, the bar halfway to my mouth, praying it was a joke, an autocorrect mishap, anything but the truth. 2 minutes later, Haley chimed in, "It'll just make things awkward. Please don't show up." That one landed like a gut punch, harder than any training drill. Not because she'd ever been a beacon of sisterly love, but because it read like a dismissal to an unwelcome ex, not kin. I didn't rage or plead for explanations. No, I just replied, understood. I'd like to pretend it didn't faze me, that years of hardening had made me immune. But that's the lie we tell in the ranks to push through, to sleep at night amid the ghosts of what-ifs. In reality, my heart fractured quietly, a subtle shift like a fault line giving way, irreversible and profound. That night, as the base quieted around me, something shifted from pain to clarity. Not the fiery blaze of anger or the cold calculation of revenge, but a crystalline understanding. I logged into the online portals where my presence still echoed, the joint utility accounts I'd temporarily shouldered for 3 long years, my sister's car insurance that had stealthily latched onto my credit card since her layoff, and the crown jewel, the mortgage payment system. I wasn't on the deed, never had been, but my steady military income and spotless credit had been the key to approving the loan after Dad's plant shutdown. I'd been their unseen scaffold, holding up the structure while they pretended it stood on its own. So, with methodical precision, I dismantled it. First, I halted the automatic transfers, watching the confirmations pop up like small victories. Then, I drafted a formal email to the mortgage servicer. Effective immediately, I am ceasing all financial contributions. Please direct all future communications to the primary borrower, my father. A rep called to double-check. Are you certain? This could prompt a mandatory refinance or cause payment interruptions. I nodded into the void, though she couldn't see. I'm sure, I replied, my voice steady as a parade ground command. Now, here's the part I still wrestle with explaining, even to myself. I boarded that flight anyway. The ticket was non-refundable, yes, but that was just the excuse. Deeper down, a sad, defiant fragment of my soul craved one final glimpse, to confront the reality I'd subsidized from afar without crossing the threshold. I touched down 2 days before Christmas, foregoing a rental car for a cab straight to a rundown motel off the interstate, the sort with wafer-thin walls echoing strangers' arguments and curtains bearing stains of untold histories. I perched on the edge of the lumpy bed, gazing out at the town I'd once called home, the flickering holiday lights, the familiar storefronts, the biting wind rattling bare branches. It all looked the same, yet I felt utterly alien, a visitor who'd overstayed in her own narrative. I didn't cruise by the house, didn't fire off pleading texts. I simply waited, patient as a sentinel on watch. By the next morning, the backlash erupted. 7 missed calls stacking up like incoming fire. 3 from Dad's number, 2 blocked, 1 from Haley, and the outlier a voicemail from an unfamiliar voice, identifying as Nathan Calloway, legal counsel for my parents. Miss Morgan, I've been apprised of your decision to withdraw financial support from the mortgage. Your family is understandably alarmed. I'd appreciate a conversation to mitigate any ensuing complications. Complications? The word echoed mockingly in my mind. Now they were alarmed? Not during the countless wires I'd sent from distant bases, not amid the birthdays and holidays I'd sacrificed. Entire chapters of my life erased in service to theirs. No, only now with the faucet of funds abruptly shut off. I let the calls roll to voicemail, unanswered. Instead, I grabbed cheap takeout from a nearby joint, yanked the flimsy curtains closed, and allowed the quiet to envelop me like protective gear. For the first time in ages, I tasted something elusive, control, sharp and empowering. I can't recall the exact moment I first sensed myself as the outsider in my own family. It wasn't a thunderclap event, no slammed doors or ultimatum shouts, but a gradual erosion, a series of subtle slights that piled up like unnoticed sediment. I was 8 when Haley entered the world, red-faced and wailing, heralded by my parents as the miracle baby, a title that left me pondering my own role, perhaps the rehearsal, the placeholder. To her credit, I was a quiet child, not sullen or eccentric, just self-sufficient, burying myself in books, marshaling toy soldiers in precise formations, pulling solid grades without fanfare. In our household, independence equated to invisibility. No crises meant no spotlight. Dad, back then a foreman at the steel mill, was a force of nature. Booming laugh, unyielding views, emotions bottled until they exploded in fists or bellows. Tears earned a sharp knock it off. Silence was labeled dramatic. Anger was dismissed as acting like a girl, a peculiar irony given my gender. Mom was softer, but her gentleness was diffuse like mist, forgetting parent-teacher nights, mixing up my practice schedules, skimping on lunches, yet laser-focused on Haley's ballet, playdates, and preferred treats. I wasn't unloved, per se. I was simply peripheral, noticed only in error. At 16, I landed a part-time gig at the local gas station, squirreling away every cent with dreams of a beat-up car and endless roads stretching toward freedom. But a month in, Dad borrowed the stash for a roof leak that mysteriously never got patched, while Haley's Sweet 16 glittered with a DJ and gourmet cupcakes. I enlisted at 19, unchallenged by anyone. Dad muttered, "Figures," as if it was inevitable. Mom shed tears that rang hollow, like a scripted scene from a family drama. Haley offered nothing, probably assuming I'd boomerang back into their orbit. Boot camp was grueling, a forge of sweat and screams, but it resonated. Clear rules, merit-based rewards, a sense of belonging earned through grit. For the first time, I had structure, purpose. Meanwhile, home unraveled in secrecy. I discovered Dad's layoff via Mom's Facebook GoFundMe. Tough times, keeping our heads above water. Any help appreciated. Without hesitation, I transferred $2,000 from my military account. Dad's thanks? A text. Covers this month, update when you can send more. It snowballed from there. Utilities, insurance, the mortgage, each request wrapped in excuses. Temporary. You're thriving. Sighs and guilts layering on. Haley, drifting through part-time gigs, totaled her second car at 22. I footed the deductible and co-signed for an SUV. Her gratitude? A terse thanks. Weeks later, her social media boasted, "Hard work brings rewards," a post I screenshotted and filed under unpaid debts and unspoken truths. My final in-person attempt 4 years ago, that ill-fated Christmas visit, sealed the rift. They scarcely glanced up as I entered, my childhood room repurposed as storage, relegating me to the couch. Dinner featured Dad toasting Haley as the reliable one. Morning brought no wrapped gift for me, only a grumpy vet mug that drew chuckles. "Just kidding," Mom said. I forced a smile, the eternal punchline. After that, physical visits ceased, but the financial umbilical cord remained. Calls answered dutifully, doors in my heart closing one silent click at a time. Yet hope persisted, irrational and tenacious. This year's leave approval sparked it anew. Perhaps growth, genuine welcome, not for bailouts, but for Lisa. In the motel, as shadows lengthened, reflections cascaded. Forfeited birthdays, diverted salaries, suppressed selves to preserve fragile peace. Training for war zones, yet crumbling in the family den. Haley's quip that I was too intense for skipping a laugh at a phony veteran meme. Mom's perennial line, "We love you," showing it isn't our strong suit, as if affection were an enigma I'd botched. The epiphany struck, painful yet liberating. I wasn't integral, I was infrastructure, bankrolling their facade. Calls intensified 2 days pre-Christmas. Initially, I sidestepped them, not vindictively, but reclaiming my pace, weary of snap responses to their crises. First trickle, Dad's missed call, anonymous voicemail, Haley's late-night ping for maximum drama. Ignored. Then the barrage, 7 by noon, from landline, Dad's mobile, Haley, and Callaway and Green law offices. Curiosity piqued. I played it. "Miss Morgan, Nathan Callaway here, representing your parents. Your financial pullback has them distressed. Let's chat to avert issues." Like autonomy, I thought. No callback. I silenced the phone for a snowy stroll. Streets unchanged, dull, gray, yet I was transformed. Past the old bakery of Saturday donut runs, faded sign recalled Haley's shoplifting escapade I'd covered, biking her home to dodge Dad's wrath. Her thanks? A week's cold shoulder for ruining her vibe. I laughed ruefully, an exhale laced with nostalgia's thorns. Back at the motel, the desk clerk noted incessant calls. "Local celeb?" "Sort of," I quipped. That evening, I uncorked cheap whiskey from the gas station, lounging in darkness replaying boot camp videos. Not homesick for combat, but reaffirming my core beyond exploitation. Around 1 a.m., texts escalated, from fury to, "What the hell, Lisa? Abandoning us?" to pathos. "Mom's sobbing, Dad's chest aches, your silence is lethal." I toasted manipulation's vintage craft. Nearly buckled, conditioned to mend, mediate, but recalled my co's wisdom. Kept silence roars louder than words. Held firm. Christmas Eve dawned with biblical flair. Verses quoted, Haley's enigmatic post, "Forgetting who nourished you in famine," paired with the family snap. Couch scene, 3 stockings dangling. Mine, absent. Silence shattered via my post, "Just so we're clear." Album of evidence, transfers, bills, blacked out details. No narrative, pure receipts. Backlash swift. Cousins DM'd shock. "You bankrolled that? They said you ghosted. Masked up." Mom's profile vanished. Dad swapped to a fishing pic. Evasion incarnate. Haley sniped about drama queens. Extended motels day. Dad's 6:32 p.m. voicemail. Too far, Lisa. Humiliated us. From loyal to cruel. Ruined the holiday. Ironic, uninvited as I was. Haley's 7:10 text. Point made. Chaos here. Mom starving, dad selling threats. Satisfied? Not joy, but authenticity. Typed, deleted, embraced quiet, ceasing justifications. Christmas morning, fridge buzz, blinking light, lawyer's plea, emotions peaked. In-person meet? Resolve amicably. Intrigue triumphed. Replied, tomorrow 6 p.m. Denny's Diner off Route 12, back booth. Public, neutral, no hysterics amplified. Arrived early, coffee in hand, stomach knotted, dim lights, jukebox hum, lingering garlands. Back booth for exits in view. 6:03. They entered, dad rigid in jacket, jaw granite, mom purse clutching like an anchor. Haley in absurd indoor shades, disguise or diva. Slid in wordless, dad led. No uglier escalation. Mom fragile. Family bonds. Regrettable words. Haley sneered. Online exposure? Low blow, Lisa. Even yours. Leaned back. Fascinating angle. Dad glared. You shamed us. Sipped. Self-inflicted. I ceased concealment. Haley shades slipped. Red eyes. Cut off necessary? Interrupted. House paid by the banished? Not logistics. Dad fisted table. Fix intent or victim act? Flat. No games. Ended sponsoring erasure. Pulled folder. Tabbed. Thick. Transfers. Bills. Lender doc. Logs. Shots. Slid over. Mom paled. Dad flushed. Haley compressed. Unasked, Mom murmured. Expected, I countered. Dad slammed. Superiority complex? Quiet. Merely wiser. No funding burdens. Haley unmasked. Cruel to kin. Two-way road. Solo trek years. Doorbell. Uncle Tom. Cane-toting. Silver-haired. Gaze keen. Coat ancient. Expression glacial. Cozy. Calm. Dad rose, flustered. Tom, unaware you're here. Your blind spot, Tom. To me, Lisa, holding. To them, heard texts, lawyer, tears. Acting prowess, Ron. Dad mute. Tom, Lisa's visit last year, gutter aid, meaningful chats, health crisis, flight from abroad. Solo show-up. Mom attempted. But Tom halted. Spare. Envelope dropped. Updated will, 2 weeks old, Lisa sole heir. House, land, savings. Nuclear hush. Haley, joke? Tom, consequences real. Dad, disinheriting? Tom, excising decay, notarized uncontestable. To me, delayed apology. Nodded, choked. Timely. Tom exited, cane taps fading. Stood, bills down. Thanks. Mom pleaded. Lisa. Your call. Mine. Dad growled. After our efforts? I locked. Efforts against. Not for. Done. Departed. Motel night. Haley's text. Whispered. Learned. Epilogue. 2 months hence, Uncle Tom's living room. Mine now. Boxes strewn. Stillness profound. Not hollow quiet, but serene peace. Leave post estate, smooth transfer, no fights from seer to seen. House modest, aged, tranquil, deserved, not guilt-earned. Mantle photo, us porch laughing, his pride, silent thunder. Contact severed post-will, pleas, barbs, blocked. Guiltless, blood, no peace tax. Drainers versus freedom post-release. Future? Vet sanctuary, perhaps, or simple dwelling sans vigilance. A headbound. Resonates? Comment right? Alternate? Subscribe more. Thanks sharing. Tough tale, needed perhaps.